Michael Todd versus Vitaly Laletin?
Interesting match on this one. I am a I am a close friend of Michael, and I hope, like as a dreamer, Michael is living. He's the epitome of fulfilling the dream that
Yeah.
he has had.
And I love that.
Yes.
I love that. Like, listen, it is better to have a dream. Doesn't matter you fulfill or not, than not having a dream at all. you know?
Yes. Yes. He has lived that dream,
Yeah.
and he's put it in, and he's a great comeback story.
Yeah, he has lost a lot of matches,
Couple
and
years-
people said that he is over. They made fun with him and something, but somehow they see how dangerous he is, and people still doesn't show respect and still doesn't take him seriously. I don't understand. Like, just ask his opponents; they will tell you what it is.
Yeah.
But the average Joe is just, they look at, Michael, and this and that, and then whenever you say that, like, if Michael stops that match, and then they are like, oh, you're trying to sell pay-per-view and this. Listen, like yesterday I talked with Georgi Svetko. Like, Georgi told me that, like, Michael is gonna win. It doesn't mean that Michael is gonna win. But
the
how
opinions
can
of
you
people that have touched his hands.
think that he doesn't have a chance at all?
Yeah. So this match for me, at first my head said this is Vitaly Laletin's to win. I do believe that he has. I believe he will win the high ground. Yeah, as the tallest arm wrestler in the super heavyweight division, he's improved on his side pressure in times of late. We know he's more committed to the sport now than he's ever been before, with his time and availability. He will win center. He will win center. He will take the high ground. The problem is his ability to transition to a finish. Will he, or does it? First of all, the first question: does he have enough to just top roll Michael all the way to the pad? That is a possibility. We've heard people talk of flash pins from Vitaly.
What's the possibility? Listen, we are talking about probably the strongest defense versus one of the strongest offense.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the percentage likelihood of a flash pin for me in round one is about 20%.
So you are saying that match is stopping.
I say the match stops.
Yeah. So you are saying that even in round one, 20%,
Yes.
it means that round 2, round 3,
Gets less.
that's getting less. So
Yes.
you are expecting a war.
Yes, I think Vitaly will absolutely have to. If Vitaly is to win, he will have to be with a press after having taken control of the high ground. I think he has to hit. He has to establish Michael's wrist breaking backwards, and then have the ability to stay behind his hand and get there. The problem for Vitaly will come if he overcommits to a top roll, even slightly. If he overcommits to a top roll even slightly, and Michael gets a stop, Vitaly's ability to get back behind his hand will be gone. And I think that Vitaly, being as big and as tall as he is, there is a risk of that exhaustion on the bicep happening sooner than he realizes. Michael's ability to get a stop against the top roll is a fascinating vision for me. I think it is going to be a hard thing to achieve, but I do think Michael, even with his wrist back, will get a stop. I think it's most likely that that's the case. Now, Vitaly's not a specialist of transitioning to a press, but he doesn't need to be a specialist if Michael's wrist is already compromised and the king's move is open and vulnerable. He just needs to be brave. Vitaly, hit, stand up, press. Job sounds in theory easy, but Hermes Gasparini was unable to do that, and Hermes has the most impressive strength-based top roll. Wrist flexion was intact, everything, and he couldn't just simply stand up and press. The difference is the length of the lever for Vitaly. Hermes has a better press than Vitaly in my eyes.
Of course.
Yes, but the control that Vitaly will get from the
from
the lever,
maybe more like better grip
yes,
will help Vitaly. And
Yes.
Do you think there is a possibility Vitaly to go?
Yeah, yeah.
There is?
I think there is because of the lever length. I know that when I pulled Schoolboy, for example, I attempted to get a King's move, and I got King's move stops on Schoolboy. But as soon as Schoolboy stood back up and used his lever length, my finger flexion was he could just rise through it and get over. And I feel like the lever length of Vitaly is going to be a big problem for Michael. I feel like Michael needs to get on an offensive King's move. I don't think he should catch, just squeeze, let Vitaly hit and catch. I'd like to see Michael launch into an offensive version of the King's move.
But that's what he is doing, but still ending up that way because his shoulder being far is making him a bit vulnerable at the center. You know, the more the shoulder is going, the weaker is the elbow block. You know, and yeah. So we will see. But do you think that like we have seen? Like, do you think that like the match that we saw Vitaly against Morozov, like, does it make you think that even like if he can't finish him, he will fight maybe more than we expect?
Yes, yeah, I do give credit to Vitaly's ability to fight. He's proven. I've seen him also against Dave Chafee fight for an enormous amount of time on the defense as well. So Vitaly's. I've always thought of Vitaly as having the most genetic potential in the whole crop of elite arm wrestlers. Given his frame, I feel like if he fills out, goodness me, everyone's in trouble. And I feel like yes, people do underestimate him as a one-trick pony, being just a top roller. But if he can't finish someone in a top roll and he recognizes that and then retreats a little, acts a little patient and plays for some tight position, then Vitaly's a monster there as well. And I do think people underestimate that greatly. And I think this match is going to come down to, I think it's actually going to come down to hand control. I think it's.
Do you think that Vitaly's forearm being so long, do you think that it will give him advantage to protect his wrist, because his reach will be like Michael is doing his pronation not fully with the full hand top roll, but he's just like doing it mostly like by dragging opponent to the far. But like doesn't matter how far he goes, like if Vitaly brings his elbow to the front side, like he will have, you understand, even he's like this, do you think that possibly he may slide and recover his wrist?
Yes, I do, and that's the biggest concern for Michael.
Yeah.
If Michael can get Vitaly's wrist to bounce every time he attacks, then I think that's Michael's match. Michael will win it. I don't think Vitaly will have the press transition.
But whenever he presses, he may go. But what like, look at if I stay here, I go and then it goes like. But sometimes what if I just then if I have long enough forearm and go and then like
that's Vitaly's day.
Yeah.
Vitaly will win if he achieves that, and that's why when I say I think the match is about hand control, Michael needs to keep enough pressure on Vitaly's hand that Vitaly can't do that, because if Michael rests, Vitaly will do that just because of the lever length. I think he'll be able to achieve it just sliding up and through. But if Michael keeps active pressure on him, even when Vitaly retreats, if Michael just fills that gap with the King's move in this sort of position.
But do you think that there will be like a limited room to move? You understand? It's what I am saying, that no matter how much you go, if the guy is tall enough, like you normally go somewhere which is far enough for majority of the opponents. But when the opponent is 2.5 centimeter, then wherever you usually lock people may still be a comfortable zone, because it can come.
It can reach further.
Because like some people don't have to do that.
What about the question of Michael Todd pressing?
Oh no! Listen, if the match is here somewhere, you understand? That is. But the thing is that Michael has a very deadly, explosive press.
Yes.
But he doesn't have the constant.
control.
He just tries. It goes. If it doesn't go, he goes back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like unlike Jerry, unlike Dave Chaffee. Dave Chaffee, once he put it, and he stayed there.
You know, if there's any one match where Michael is going to go forward and stay forward, this would be the one to do it in. Like, I'm not saying that that's a likely scenario, but if the King's move round 1 has failed, and the King's move round 2 fails,
Oh, you are saying that right with the go,
yeah, I'm saying
right with the go,
and staying there, even if he loses the hand, staying.
I don't think that
Dave-
Michael has that. I have never seen Michael staying there. You know.
He broke his arm when he stayed
but
there.
it was left
with-
arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm just saying that recently, he tries that only if after he exhausts and finishes,
Yes.
or he goes right with the go, and then if it
Then he
hits the
jumps
wall
back to
and
the
then he
top.
jumps back. You understand?
I'd like to see him go forward. Let's say he's down 2-0. He then goes forward. Vitaly still gets the wrist, and he just stays forward. He just becomes Jerry for a match, because Dave Chaffee did that against Vitaly. I know Vitaly avenged the loss, but Dave Chaffee, after having an exhausted hand, said, "Okay, I'm just going to go here, and I'm just going to stay there." And Dave was super unfamiliar with that position, but it worked against Vitaly. And because Vitaly's levers are so long, you get great purchase on it. And Michael couldn't do that against Hermes, but against Vitaly, if Michael's down 2-0, I can see that being a viable lane for him if he decides to kind of go into new territory.
Anything is possible. The only thing that for sure, this match can go anywhere.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that it can go anywhere. It is like maybe Vitaly Laletin will just dominate him. Maybe Michael is just gonna stop Vitaly, as you said, with the offensive open arm top roll, and then even round 1 he will bring him to the center, and he will exhaust him and beat him. It can go, but don't tell me that like only one can happen, the other one cannot. You never know.
Well, for me, my instinct was Vitaly at first, but then Hermes spoke up and said 70-30 Michael, and I thought, whoa, hang on. Hermes knows these two guys really well. He's just he's pulled them both, and that one threw a spanner in the works for my.
I was right there. I saw how Hermes was pushed to the limits. People says that, oh, Hermes just destroyed Michael. He didn't. He didn't. Hermes himself said he was like that close, and people says that, oh, come on, like come on, at least okay. I wasn't pulling. Okay, you know more than I do. Okay, good job for you. Yeah, but please don't think that you know more than what Hermes felt. There.
Yes.
Hermes pulled perfect. Like you can just have an arm wrestling school and just show this as an example how to defeat that move.
Yeah,
he did everything perfect. If he did everything perfectly, it still was like barely. And when people say, "Oh, he was that close," well, how is it barely? That is where the struggle is.
That's the hardest blast.
That is the hardest part. Like if you go there, you couldn't go there. You stay there 20 more seconds. You lost a round, and you lost following rounds. That is the struggle. Just because Hermes had the full control, wow. Hermes said, no, that's not. Everyone who pulls against Michael is all getting those positions, But the hard part is just finishing.
Yeah, finishing Michael's the big issue, and Michael's sort of doing the full circle. Michael's a dreamer. Michael has been dreaming of a match with Levan. This is his chance, isn't it? Like the winner of this gets the winner of Hermes and Levan.
Yeah.
So
but Laletin is weird. Laletin says it doesn't matter even if he wins, he's gonna pull first Devon.
Okay, there you go.
And Devon says,
well,
hey, listen. Yeah, just be careful with your wishes.
Yeah.
And then Vitaly comes back with a logical counter.
Yeah.
He says, if I'm not able to beat you,
what's the point?
Why would I pull Levon anyways? You understand?
That's a fascinating one. I know we've got King of the Table 14.
Yeah, let's stop here. So we will have more to talk. Yes. Yeah, because it's very long. It has been probably 1.5 hours. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching and great job.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Great predictions. Great analyzing. You know, that's why you are here.
No worries. Thank you so much.